I could help these guys anti-bully.
Right now.
The standard of truth has been erected.
Stop playing defense.
You're absolutely right.
No unhallowed hand can stop the broadcast.
That is the way that a lot of Latter-day Saints do apologetics.
Cancel culture rages and mobs combine.
We actually had one of the protesters over for dinner.
What?
But the truth of God will go forth boldly
These people are lying to you. They do not care about you.
until it has reached every television, sounded in every iPhone, and reached every person. This signal will continue to go forth. Here we defend truth. Here we denounce deception. Here we are created in the image of God. Our detractors call us crazy, but our friends call us.
All right, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Ward Radio live stream. I am your host, Cardin Ellis, and today I'm joined in the studio by a very special guest, back by popular demand, none other than Brian J. Stutzman, who is the author of you got to put your mic down so it can focus on your face, so the facial recognition software. Oh, there we go. Yeah, there we go. Awesome,
right.
Perfect. Brian J. Stutzman, who wrote this super cool book called A Timeline of Joseph Smith's Prophecies. His prophecies indeed fulfilled. This is super interesting stuff. And I got to tell you, I want to dive right in without any further ado. Before we go anywhere, though, I just got to address a couple of super chats here. You guys are in early. As you're coming in, please make sure that you remember to like this stream. It helps the algorithms, help us. Make sure you share this with your friends. This is kind of going to be a little bit of an Ask Me Anything with Brian about some of the prophecies of Joseph Smith getting fulfilled. He's one of the biggest fonts of knowledge that I have in my life about Joseph Smith, as well as the mob that killed him. He knows everything Nauvoo 1841. Shall we say? I don't know. My history's that bad. But anyway, we're going to talk about the different prophecies of Joseph Smith that have been fulfilled, and it is super interesting stuff. So make sure you like this stream. Make sure you share it with your friends if you haven't yet. And if you want us to answer any of your questions, make sure you send us a super chat, and if appropriate, we'll read it on air. First thing, third super chat from Braden Stutz says, nice last name, Brian. Love from Texas Word Radio. Stutz. Oh, let me guess. That's a family member. Is that a shout out from a family member?
I don't think so. Different last name, right? Stutzman.
Just another guy that happens to be named Stutz?
Guy. Well, my last name's Stutzman. So
okay.
It's good to be back with you here live in your studio. You got an awesome place here.
All right. Thanks, bro.
And,
thanks.
Just so your listeners, I was on about, a year and a half ago. And my specialty is Hancock County, Nauvoo, Carthage, and Warsaw. Especially during the Mormon period time of 1839 to 1846, and especially the martyrdom, the mob that killed Joseph Smith, things like that. That's what I was on before. And so this kind of parlayed when one of our detractors of our church, who makes a lot of money, by the way, put up a podcast about the failed prophecies of Joseph Smith. And I'm like, what? And so we got some material together. My brother-in-law had done a lot of this work, and we agreed to republish it. And I'm out there promoting not only the book, not so much the book, but there's a lot of people that have no idea that there were about 400 prophecies of Joseph Smith.
400 prophecies of Joseph Smith.
And we're not what we're talking about. We're not talking about like things in the Book of Mormon where it's Moroni or Mosiah saying stuff. And we're not even talking about the Doctrine and Covenants. There's about 1,100 forward-looking statements in the Doctrine and Covenants, and those are the voice of the Lord. These are statements that Joseph Smith said, like the stars will fall from heaven in less than 40 days. Or
wait, he legit said the stars will fall from heaven in less than 40 days?
Yeah. This is in 1833 in Crete.
Yeah, what happened?
Okay. So let's just
like moonfall or like what?
So Joseph Smith publicly said that in 40 days or less, the stars will fall from heaven. Well, on day 39, this is like October 5th, 6th of 1833, and he's in Kirtland. And what's happened is the Saints have been run out of Jackson County, Missouri, and the mob, the people that are chasing them, the military brigades. They're camping on the banks of the Missouri River, and the Mormons are across the way, and the mob or the militia, whatever you want to call them, trying to push the saints north. Well, on day 39 at about 2 a.m., the greatest asteroid show ever in the history of recorded man happened, and it's just phenomenal. And it lasted. It was so bright, people said that they could read the newspaper by it. These were not only members of the church. One person estimated not 1 million, but 1 billion stars fell. But it was recorded by scientists in Maryland and all up and down the East Coast. In fact, this Leonide meteor shower, and I think I've got a slide of that, became the foundation of modern meteor scholarship. Okay, the whole thing there.
Oh, really? Wait, so you're saying Joseph Smith prophesied at someday, whenever, that within 40 days the stars will fall from the heavens, and within those 40 days, there was an asteroid shower so prominent that people at nighttime said the sky was bright enough from this meteor/asteroid shower, I guess whatever you want to call the astrological phenomenon. It was so bright that you could read the newspaper by it at night. That's what you're saying?
4 o'clock in the morning. It was waking people up in Maryland.
How come we don't know more about this? How come that doesn't replace the Thomas B. Marsh bucket of cream story that we heard 5,000 times? You know what I'm saying? How come we don't talk about that more?
Thomas Marsh story is a little bit to help us understand that we have to cope with the infallibility of people, whereas this one, now let's do a back up. You can't really base your complete testimony on Joseph Smith that he got.
Well, apparently you can,
right?
If he's mother frickin' hailing down fire and brimstone, so you can read the newspaper at 2 in the morning.
Well, it's pretty phenomenal. I would say
it's closing time, and you walk outside, and it's the noonday sun.
I should rephrase that. You can't base your testimony solely on one or two things, but a real testimony, lasting testimony, isn't like a sign seeker thing. It's what we've been taught by the brethren, the faith, the prayers, the Book of Mormon, the prophetic calling. But that's what makes our church a little different. There's a lot of churches that teach Jesus, right, including ours, right. But what makes us different is we have the restoration, and we have a prophet of God, and with that prophet will come seership, revelations, and prophecy,
and refreshments. Yeah,
only at Linger Longers, right?
Yeah.
And so, which we love at our Word Up. So, this is just one more brick in the testimony wall of, of building a testimony. One more brick, but he had the prophetic gift, and why we don't know about it? That's why we're doing the show, bro.
All right, rock on, dude. I see, man. That is just so cool, and that's in your book. This is in your book, right?
Yeah. So here's the second part of the story. So,
well, hold on. Before we get to the second part of the story, we got to hold on because we got two people that have super chatted. Okay, and we got to read their super chats. First off, Stephen Diamond, thank you for the super chat, my man. Says, did you know Joseph Smith was in Philadelphia and established a church there? Maybe he prophesied Temple Rocks and the priesthood restoration site. Have you heard about the Temple Rocks and the priesthood restoration site?
Well, I was just at the priesthood restoration site a few months ago.
Did you just say restoration site? That is really
site.
That is really funny. Keep going.
But I don't know.
At the priesthood restoration site.
I don't know. Right. I don't know what prophecy. It's not in our book. Let's get to some of these super chats. But the second half of the Falling Star story is,
okay.
I said the mob was on the banks of the Missouri River chasing the saints north. The saints saw this, knew Joseph Smith had prophesied the stars would fall from heaven, and they rejoiced. The enemies of the church disbanded. They thought the second coming had started. When they saw this, they thought, oh my goodness, we can't chase these Mormons. This must be the start of the second coming. The enemies disbanded, and Joseph Smith got that prophecy dead on.
Wow, that is okay. So wait, I want to make sure that I get this right in one sentence. That Joseph Smith prophesied an X date, that within 40 days the stars.
So October 6, 1833.
October 6, 1833. What's the date today? So like last week, 200 some odd years ago or whatever, he prophesied that within 40 days the stars would utterly be falling from the heavens, And then one of the greatest astrological meteor / asteroid showers, whatever you want to call it, happened. And it was so bright that you could read the newspaper at night, people were claiming. And it was so big that a mob that had gathered to do anti-Mormon violence against the early pioneers actually disbanded because they thought it was the second coming.
Yep. True story.
That is
verified.
so much cooler than like 90% of gospel doctrine. Like when we talk about prophecy, they're always like, oh, did you know Joseph Smith almost prophesied the Civil War? And they like misquote something he said about the Civil War. Meanwhile, he's literally utterly like straight up beating the Zoroastrians in like, heavenly predictions. That's cool, man.
And so again, it's recorded in scientific journals of non-Mormons all up and down the country. East Coast, whatever.
Yeah, because it's not true
verifiable.
until the non-Mormons say so.
This is verifiable that this meteor storm happened, and it happened the way Joseph Smith prophesied. In fact, people were waking each other up. And you can just Google LDS prophecy on a meteor.
What's it called
1833. Again? It's spelled Leonid.
Leonid, and it's meteor shower?
Meteor shower, 1833.
Okay.
There's
so, oh my gosh, it's
and-
the second thing that came up. This is a big deal. Whoa.
Yeah, there it is.
Look at that,
Drawings and things, some by non.
Okay, so
LDS
I just
people.
looked it up. It literally says the Great Leonid Meteor Shower of November 12th, 1833, in which hundreds of thousands of meteors were observed in one night, was seen all over North America and initiated the first serious study of meteor showers. Man, some of these pictures are cool too. Look at that. Yeah. Wow, that is dang cool, man.
So how could he have got? How did Joseph Smith even know? Right.
Yeah.
Because
did he
about
cheat? Did he read Poor Richard's Almanac and it's really Ben Franklin's fault? Or like what's going on, dude? Because we know he was just a treasure digging con man. All right, dude. Like, how could he have like predicted astrological signs? He stole, along with the maps of Nahum from Dartmouth and Solomon Spaulding's manuscript, he also stole the Zoroastrian calendar and the Druidic predictions from the Griffith Observatory.
Don't forget he was a scryer too. So
yeah, whatever that means. But
which didn't even come up till many years after his death.
That's cool. By the way, we got, I'm going to switch your mic, bro.
Okay.
Grab the green mic just because that red mic,
it's just covering.
The auto focus is making it so that the mic is in focus, but your face is out of focus. Try that one. Can you talk to the green? Yeah, there we go. Yeah, you're good there. So point it down your mouth just a little bit more, kind of like it's mine too.
There.
There. Yeah, excellent. You look great. And see, now it can focus on your face. You're pretty mug. Your wife's watching, dog.
I hope so. I know I have family watching and ward members back in Rexburg are watching.
Shut up, really? Do you?
Yeah, they text me.
Oh, really?
So shout out to the 117th ward, right?
Yeah. Oh, by the way, you are a YSA bishop, I understand correctly, right?
Yep.
Dude, shout out to which YSA ward?
117th.
Dude? Oh, that's the ward. Okay, cool. Rock on.
We got the best students.
What's it like being a YSA bishop in BYU, Idaho, bro?
It's the best calling. I mean, when people like serve their whole life, this should be the reward for it, to serve on campus.
Really? Oh, that's so good to hear.
It's so cool.
What's so good about being a YSA bishop, bro?
Oh my goodness, this is off subject.
What? Come on! What? There's no.
We just
this
love
is
the
my
students.
show. It's a subject. If I say it's a motherfucking subject, dog. Look, I'm gonna go scriptural on your A. Is this not my vineyard?
It is.
Is this not my vineyard? Okay, so you can brag about your students for freaking 3 seconds
awesome.
if you want to.
We see so many great students. Our stake president needed an assignment done, some things, and he sent a text out last night. He said, "Here's some things that I'm looking for." Said, "Send me your best." So I sent him the name of somebody. I said, "Here's a future stake president or 70, and here's a future stake release site president, and here's because we can see the potential of these kids, and that's what makes it really these students. They're the cream of the crop. And I tell them I will match 135 from our ward against 135 people of their age anywhere in the world, and they are better than any, and even Provo.
Really?
They cut a sticker. I think the Rexburg kids are better than the Provo kids.
See,
no offense.
I hear there's a lot of claims
They're all
now.
good.
There's a lot of people. I mean, there's some serious BYU Idaho pride, and I love pride. And I always think it's so
Small
adorable I just think I think this is cute and it warms my soul. All the BYU Idaho kids have this kind of like, this little rivalry with BYU Provo, but it's always nice to remember that BYU Provo and BYU Idaho kids have a lot more in common than they have differently. For example, they all applied to BYU Provo, but
not all. But you're right. Rexburg is not a destination school. We have very few students. We have very few students that said, 10 years ago, this was my dream school.
So is BYU Idaho, is that like the water boy for BYU Provo? It's kind of like, no, that's not the way it runs?
No.
Yeah.
We have many students that could have gone there, but they like the environment of Rexburg. It's a little smaller. Yeah. It's a hometown feeling.
So where is BYU Idaho? I know there's that.
Rexburg, yeah.
Well, I thought that community college Ricks was up in Rexburg. Are we talking about the same place?
Are you talking about Brigham Young Academy?
Academy? That one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Kind of Provo, that school down there.
Dude, you're not a very good trash talker, bro. We got to up your trash talking game, all right? BYU Idaho people. Yeah. I want to hear some BYU Idaho versus BYU Provo jokes in the chat right now. I want to know
I've
what
got
you
mine.
say.
I just can't say it here.
Oh, you can't?
I'll tell you at our break.
Oh, you're telling me? Oh, man, see, no. You're in the jungle. You got to defend BYU Idaho, bro.
It's great.
Actually,
we have some great people up there.
The only time I ever got my mother-in-law visibly angry at me was when I made a BYU Idaho joke. Mm-hmm. And, because I went to BYU Provo. I mean, I would say the real BYU.
I went to both.
But, okay, well, that's cool. I mean, sometimes varsity players have to teach junior varsity players the basic fundamentals of the sport. But I said something like that. And, oh, my gosh, she got so angry. She's like, don't you dare say that about BYU Idaho. I've said 3 of my children. She was a BYU Idaho apologist, man. And I thought it was. I thought it was.
The fact
funny.
we're getting our second temple in a town of 20,000 people says it all.
Well, yeah, no, it does. But we got our 1970s birthday cake. The Provo Temple, we got our 1970s birthday cake.
And they have how many hundreds of thousands of people?
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know, bro. So anyway, we're gonna catch up with some of these super chats here. Thank you so much, guys. I got a really great super chat. Braden Stutz, sorry, no, we already read his. Then there was a lovely super chat that came in right afterwards from, I'm skipping over it. No, not Hugo Martinez. Oh, no, the chats are coming in so fast I can't catch up. Here it is. Betsy Belmont says, your content has been so helpful. Thank you.
Sweet.
This is her first live stream super chat. Thank you, Betsy. How has our content been very helpful? We've received all kinds of wonderful super chats and text messages and emails through our site and comments on our standalone videos on our channel saying how our content has helped them. And I'd like to know more. Just if you feel comfortable mentioning specifics, please tell us how we have assisted you in your faith journey. And just if you can open up, because we always want to know, what do we do that helps? We're just being ourselves, we're being our authentic selves. And we ain't trying to go necessarily out of our way beyond how much we sacrifice in order to make this content. But we don't go personally in terms of we don't fake we're something that we're not in order to try and help people. So we kind of but we do want to help people. So it's kind of helpful for us knowing how we've helped you, just seeing what works. So anyway, David Fayfield says, great show as always, Cardin. Always miss the shadow though. It's true. Unfortunately, she is a dance mom and there's a big dance show going on. Brittany was actually on her way to being a professional ballerina before she got married to me. And so she still assists in the dance world, and she loves it. It's her passion, and it's my daughter's passion as well. But unfortunately, Brittany Shadow's out with my daughter doing dance right now. But she will probably be here tomorrow as we talk about another really interesting topic as well. And Hugo Martinez, sorry about that, says, heading to Palmyra this weekend for the first time. Thanks for all the work, guys. Awesome. David Fayfield says, great show as always, Cardin. Always. Oh, wait, no. Whoops. I already read that one. Okay, so I think I'm all caught up on.
So if you go to Palmyra, you got to go to Alvin Smith's grave.
Really?
So from the Grandin Press,
you
head, let's see, that would be west to the end of the block and about half a block north, right by the canal. You go up this hill and Alvin's grave is over on the left, back left. And why this is significant, this really isn't in the book because, again, this is in the Doctrine and Covenants. and some people know this story, some people don't. Before the Book of Mormon was published, Joseph was really close with his brother Alvin. Alvin was the oldest, and Alvin died. Between Joseph Smith had already been instructed about the Book of Mormon plates, but had not received them yet. So it was in that 4-year period. And when Alvin died, they had a Protestant minister come and do the funeral.
Okay.
And the Protestant minister, because the church hadn't been restored, they had nobody else do it, right?
Okay.
And so the minister said, "Now, has Alvin been baptized?" And the Smiths said, "No." And the minister said, "Well, I'm sorry to tell you, he's going to go to hell."
Whoa.
And that
savage.
stuck with the Smiths.
Okay.
So, 1831, 33, they're down in Hiram, Ohio. The Saints had moved to Kirtland. Joseph, Sidney, they were down in Hiram, Ohio at John Johnson's farm, and they were upstairs. And there's this bedroom they turned into like this meeting room, and some elders were there. And Joseph and Sidney see what? Doctrine and Covenants, section 76. It's called the visions.
Okay.
But
Rock
it is
on.
the vision of the 3 degrees of glory.
Yeah. Yeah.
Who does Joseph Smith see in the celestial glory kingdom?
A-Train.
His brother Alvin.
Boom shakalaka.
And he says, how is this possible? And that's facilitated the rolling out of the plan of salvation as we know it and the redemption of the dead.
Dude,
so
wicked.
if you go to Palmyra, you got to go to Alvin Smith's grave. Understand that it was Alvin who died that helped facilitate what we know today about work for the dead and how the dead can be redeemed in this life through temple work and ordinances, and receive an eternal inheritance in the kingdom to come.
And
the life to come.
And you got 2 temples to do all that work in up there
At
Rick's College. Rock on, dude. That's awesome. I'm super proud for you guys. Glad to know the city's so small and boring that they have to go to the temple in order to have their fun. No.
Oh, yeah, let me tell you.
I just thought of that one, and that one was bad. The temple is more fun than anything secular, so that's actually a good thing. Anyway, Daniel
I'd rather have my
Vasquez.
ward members in the temple than almost any other place.
Boom shakalaka, especially in Rexburg, Okay, cool.
Okay,
So
let's move on.
Daniel Vasquez, I'm beating you at this game right now, dog. We're gonna rough you up a little bit. We'll haze you in the parking lot next time you come in, and then you'll be able to just punch upwards with the BYU P versus I battle here. Anyway, Daniel Vasquez. Dude, thanks for the super chat. Daniel says, hello, guys. I'm watching from the city of Cananea, Sonora, Mexico. That's awesome. This is my first year as a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints.
Awesome.
Well, bienvenidos, amigo. That's freaking awesome.
See, I don't know if we're going to get to this, but one of Joseph Smith's greatest prophecies happened in Mexico.
Shut up, really?
Yeah.
Get out of town. What?
So here's what happened.
Was he ever in Mexico?
No. But it got fulfilled in Mexico.
Oh, okay, cool.
Want
What?
to talk about this? So
Montezuma's Revenge?
it's
Like what?
Buena Vista, the Battle of Buena Vista.
Whoa, get
And
out.
so,
Okay, cool.
So we have
Is this in your
this
book too?
Yeah.
Okay,
So
cool.
here's what happened. Again, I'm a Hancock County Carthage guy, right? And so
Rock on.
when Joseph Smith gave himself up to be brought before the legal system in Carthage, this would be June 5th, 24th, 1844. He went over to the Hamilton House, which is a hotel. In fact, he stayed there one night. And there was, I think we've got a slide of this quote.
Okay.
There was some soldiers,
This one right here, prophesying servant.
No. It talks about
There's the Leonid thing. You gave me a couple of slides here, bro. Is it that one right there?
no.
Donovan?
No.
This one?
No, that's that's Porter.
No.
You can,
About noon in the Hamilton House
yeah,
in
that's
Carthage.
it.
All
Now,
right,
can
here
you
we
show
go.
that?
Yeah, it says June 25th, 1844, about noon at the Hamilton House in Carthage.
Okay, here's the background. Then I'll have you read it.
Okay.
So Joseph
Did you just
Smith's-
interrupt me on my show?
Joseph Smith, of course.
I
You
can
you
show
told
off-
me to rough you up. I'm just following orders here, Carter.
I love it.
So
Savage.
So there's a group of men there, and Joseph Smith said, "Hey, and they're part of the Legion. They're military regiments, part of militias. Okay, is property, and they're sitting there, and Joseph Smith says, well, I'm Joseph Smith. Do I look like the kind of man that people have told you that I am? And they said, no. And he says, this quote, he says, you can't see in my heart, but I can see in yours. So why don't you read that real quick?
Okay, let me see. So June 25th, 1844, about noon, at the Hamilton House in Carthage. But I can see what's in your heart, and I will tell you what I see. Your thirst for blood, and nothing but my blood will satisfy you. I prophesy in the name of the Lord. Wow, so he's calling them out to their faces. That is hardcore. So he says, I prophesy in the name of the Lord that you shall witness scenes of blood to your entire satisfaction, and many of you who are now present shall face the cannon's mouth from sources you think not of.
Okay.
Here's
dude, what happened.
That's like live by the sword, die by the sword, bro.
2.5 years later, in February of 1847, this came to pass. These men were dispatched with the U.S. Army to go battle Santa Anna at the Battle of Buena Vista. If you Google it, there's a whole bunch.
Oh, well, now I got to Google it.
So
dog.
Zach Taylor, who was actually one of the founders of Warsaw, Illinois, who eventually became president of the United States, he led his army down to battle.
Who became president?
Zachary Taylor.
He was from Warsaw, Illinois?
He spent time in Warsaw.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
But was he anti-Mormon particularly?
No, this is before the Mormons got there. This is in early 18. It was the end of the Battle or the War of 1812, and he settled Fort Johnson in 1814 in Warsaw. Zachary Taylor. So this is when younger in life, but later in life, he's over there in 1847. He's leading.
Wow, here's the Battle of Buena Vista.
Yeah, and so what happened is. Santa Anna had a total of about 17,000 troops, and he kind of played a trick on the Americans. And he withdrew off to one side, the left side, and these people who were in Carthage, in this room with Joseph Smith when he prophesied this, they got suckered in, and they went down and got trapped, and then Santa Anna put 12,000 people back on them, and the people from Illinois retreated, and they got caught in friendly fire, and they were killed by their own cannons.
Whoa!
Really? Direct fulfillment of what Joseph Smith said just 2.5 years earlier.
Okay, well, I'm going to fact check your religious zealotry right now, all right? And I'm going to fact check it via Wikipedia, who we know never lies.
Never lies.
But
they've got quite an article there. It's quite long.
Yeah, this is crazy.
I don't know if it comes out and it says the Mormon prophet.
So
Joseph
it says,
Smith said this.
February
It
22nd.
We have lots of material all over the internet. The churches, people have written articles, and I think the Joseph Smith Foundation website has a huge article on the fulfillment of the Buena Vista prophecy.
Wow. So Santa Anna had chosen the day of battle, not aware that it was apparently George Washington's birthday. Wow, that was a bad day. It galvanized the patriots. Immediate aftermath, public reaction. This is a huge article, and there's tons of paintings and tons of artwork done on this. I mean, this is incredible. Look at that. Okay, well, we got a couple of super chats here, but if I understand this before I address the super chats, that Joseph Smith was talking to a mob of people that he knew wanted to kill him. Mm-hmm. And he straight up comes with this savage quote on June 25th, 1844, at about noon at the Hamilton House that says, but I can see what's in your heart, and I will tell you what I see. Your thirst for blood, and nothing but my blood will satisfy you. So he literally says, I know you want to kill me.
And he doesn't say John Taylor and Willard Richards want to kill me. Okay, that's another story. I just had to dig Justin Griffin
Boy,
there.
he lives rent-free in your head, doesn't he, man? He lives rent-free
people who
in
know
your
him
head, doesn't he?
People who know what Justin Griffin had done need to know the truth, and this is part of the truth right here in this quote.
You did. I love it. You're like a bloodhound. You're like a Carthage conspiracy truther. That's funny.
Well,
man.
I know the subject.
Jet fuel doesn't melt steam beams, and John Taylor didn't kill Joseph Smith.
Well, the second one's true.
I think. Jeez, man. Okay, so here we go. June 25th, 1844, about noon.
You can't
he
make
says,
this stuff up.
I prophesy in the name of the Lord that you shall witness scenes of blood to your entire satisfaction. That is savage. And many of you who are now present shall face the cannon's mouth from sources you think not of. And then they ended up getting killed
Friendly
by
fire.
none other than friendly fire. Well, some of them, obviously not all of them, but many that were present
Almost
there,
all.
in the Battle of Buena Vista
Almost all that were there were killed.
Dude, how come I've heard this Thomas B. Marsh bucket of cream story 15 times, and not that Joseph Smith told his own assassins they would die from cannon fire and then got iced by friendly fire in frickin' the Battle of Buena Vista? What's going on?
And 2.5 years later, it didn't take a lifetime.
Okay, so we got some good BYU Idaho jokes in the chat.
Oh, no.
All right, you know? That Rebecca says, Rebecca, she's repping her school.
Come on,
says,
Taylor, bail us out
BYU, I do, and Bridaho, because it's Bridaho. Hey, that's good. Look, if you're finding your partner and you're getting married and you're starting life together with the right person, that is the best thing that could happen with your college experience. So that's awesome. Then let me see. There was another really funny one here. Gosh, where did it go? Oh, we had so many super chats come in here. Okay. Jar Tube, I don't know how it's pronounced, but it says, hey, how do we know when programs / live streams are coming up? Is there any advanced notice? You know what? Sometimes there is, sometimes there isn't. Usually it's going to be on the socials. We try and put up a thumbnail usually 30 to 60 minutes before, but we try and live stream on Tuesdays and Thursdays if we can. Every once in a while, we'll catch you on a Friday and a Monday and so on and so forth, but I try and live stream if I can, at least once or twice a week. If I can, 3 or 4 times a week. But you just got to press that subscribe button and make sure that you put the alert button on as well, because you'll get forward notifications 30, 20 minutes, 10 minutes in advance. Also, if you click on the notify me button whenever a live stream announcement comes up, then it will also notify you about a minute before we start, and then you'll be able to jump in the chat that way. And you got to follow us on Twitter, or better said, x.com. Follow us on Twitter. We announce there oftentimes. We do polls there. We ask people what they want to talk about there. And make sure that you follow us on Facebook, Instagram, all the others. Whenever I'm a good, responsible boy, I put it up on all the socials. Sometimes I just come in here, I'm like, boom, we're going to go live, and we just go live. So just check in with us often, as much as you can, and hopefully we'll be there for you. Thanks for the super chat. And then Ben James asked, what are some good books on LDS eschatology? LDS eschatology, that's kind of interesting.
I'd start with the scriptures first. Keep the basics.
Back to basics, because the basics are good, huh? So Daniel Vasquez says, definitely the best year of my life so far. Oh, yeah, that's the brother who se bautizó recién. You know, he's the one that got baptized recently. So rock on. Also, Deck, short for, I don't know, December, says Daniel Velasquez. Or no, not Velasquez. Daniel Vasquez says, bienvenido, bro. Which is like how we say it in Los Angeles. You know what I'm saying? Yo también soy de México y me uní a la iglesia de Jesucristo hace 10 años. Okay, so there he is. He said, hey, what's up? Me too. I'm from Mexico, and I joined the Church of Jesus Christ about 10 years ago. Rock on. Also, before we go any further, we're going to welcome to the studio none other than the keeper of the chats for the rest of the day, the comedic editor at large, none other than the ward librarian, Jonah Barnes, who is with us via the Zoom machine. What's up, Jonah? How you doing, bro, Seth?
I'm great. I'm sorry. I'm on a laptop, so my audio might be poor. Can everybody hear me?
Oh, it's almost as poor as your choice in hats. But no, I'm just kidding. I'm totally kidding, dude. I'm totally kidding, bro. That's funny. Hey, welcome, man. Welcome. Glad you could get off work, you know, and I hear rehab's going great. Your sponsor said that you'd be good for the show. So thanks, man.
He gave me an hour. You have Brian in the studio?
Yeah, dude.
How you doing?
Yeah, on a layover.
Oh, this is great.
It feels like it. I'm back in Idaho tomorrow morning almost, you know, so.
Yeah.
Oh, this is wonderful. This might be a little awkward that you have Brian there with you, because
he's your sponsor?
No. I'm a little embarrassed because I was listening to the podcast. I'm reading his book, The Prophecies of Joseph Smith Fulfilled, and you know, I actually ordered it off Amazon. He actually missed a couple prophecies.
Oh yeah.
Really?
Yeah, and I thought I would just bring them to everybody's attention. We want to be thorough here at Ward Radio.
Yeah, no, you got to catch us up, bro.
Yeah,
If
as the librarian,
missing,
I thought
we
I'd
should
just bring
know.
these up. I threw a couple of them in the Discord. There's really 5 that, I'm sorry, Brian, you're great, but I think you may have missed these.
Okay. It says, I saw the whore of the earth, and she, okay, so hold on. I got to see this one, make sure that I'm not messing it up.
And where was this at?
This was actually in 1890, 10.
I saw the whore of the earth, and she usurped the throne of the Sabbath, and she danced with lights and cheering and great avarice, and all men surrounded her to praise and watch, yea, and she wore a pigskin. What?
Yeah.
What?
And this is 1910, right? And,
It was, it's an obscure one, but something about the pigs, they call it the pigskin prophecy. I don't know what it's about.
I think you need to get on another podcast because this. No,
you really should have found that one, Brian. I'm disappointed you couldn't find that. There's another one.
So what year did Joseph die?
Well, I'm not going to rehearse the history.
Okay.
Wait. I'm not going to argue dates with you, Brian. Okay.
Okay, wait, there's another one. Hold on, there's another one. It says,
there's a couple more.
Zion will have many enemies. I think I heard about this one in the Journal of Discourses.
That's right. That's where it was, yeah.
That Zion will have many enemies, but none of them sadder than the king of burgers, yea, even the Burger King. Oh,
that's right.
I think you're meaning the Apologia Studios Burger King, right?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I'm not interpreting. I'm just bringing the prophecies. That's all I'm doing.
Is this your eschatology?
I wonder if this is from Joseph Smith's history by his mother.
I don't know.
Yeah, right?
I don't know.
That could have been. I'm glad you're finally catching on.
Yeah.
Okay,
Brian.
so hold on. There's 3 more here. We got to burn through these because if Brian Stutzman missed these, then we need to catch him up really fast.
Absolutely.
It says, okay.
I'll do a new edition.
Place not thy trust in the arm of the heaps, for his arm shall choke. Who are the heaps?
I don't know what that.
That's
I don't know. BYU football fans might get that one, but trust not in the arm of the heaps.
What's a heap? I don't play sports.
Is that their last quarterback or something?
I don't know. It's it's open for interpretation. But
okay.
The heaps will choke.
The heaps will choke. Okay, cool. And then it says, beware of the man who shall scourge the saints and thrive on the scattering of families of the just. Behold, you shall know him by his great jowls.
Wow. That's pretty good, Jonah.
I don't know who that's referring to, but he will thrive.
Did you find this in the archives?
Is his scientific name the Homerecus for Prophetess? You know what I'm saying?
The Latin, in the original Latin.
In the original taxonomical derivation.
Is this a guy that's like making $250,000 a year?
It's like more than that, bro.
Oh, he's had that like 3 years ago.
Yeah,
income.
that's off the old taxes, man.
Yeah.
Okay, and there's another one.
Anything about the courses he sells?
By the way, you got to tell me when you got these ones coming up, bro, because like I'm nervous just letting you have free reign on.
Hey, these are Joseph Smith's prophecies. What do you?
Yes, you're right.
This is the words of the prophet, Carton.
Yeah. Okay, so here's the next one. I'll pull it up for everybody. Yeah. This one says, "And it shall come to pass that a warden shall rise up to war against the enemies of Zion, and he shall smite them with his words, and his words shall soar up in the air, and he shall be as tall as a cedar, yea, and he shall love Taco Bell."
I don't know who that's referring to.
Busiest restaurant in Rexburg, Taco Bell.
I don't know who's as tall as a cedar. I don't know anybody tall as a cedar.
That's funny.
Oh, wait. I think I know.
Who, me?
No, I don't.
The mighty one or the strong one?
Never mind. I'm just bringing you the prophecies, people. I'm the librarian. Okay, I'm just the librarian.
Jonah.
Okay,
appreciate it.
We got some super chats here. Hold on.
I'll write a new book and include that. Do I have your permission to include these?
I'm sorry to embarrass you, Brian, in front of everybody.
I know it, man. I just missed the Taco Bell prophecy. I don't know where I could have.
The Taco Bell.
I mean,
I'm surprised you missed the Taco Bell prophecy, but.
Okay, so here's a question I got for you, Jonah. Ben James earlier sent us a super chat and said, "What are good books on LDS eschatology?" And as the ward librarian and an avid dissector of the Apocrypha, Brian Stutzman did his LDS Youth Ward Bishop Dad answer and said, "The scriptures, you just read the scriptures."
Start at the basic building blocks of the gospel is what I meant to say.
He patted the kid on the head at the same time. So what are some good books on LDS eschatology?
Well, to be honest, my favorite book on eschatology is not actually LDS at all. My favorite is The Great Divorce by C.S. Lewis.
Oh, that's a good one.
Really?
Talks about his thesis. I think is actually very, it fits LDS eschatology quite well. It's that heaven is not a place. Heaven is a state of being. And that the biggest obstacle to getting into heaven is just your heart, is just your willingness to be there. His whole thesis is heaven is open for everyone. It's just the people who can stand to be there are the people who get to stay, because everyone has grudges and everyone has hang-ups and everyone has sins they don't want to give up. And so they just can't fit. And it's a marvelous book. It's a metaphor, but it's C.S. Lewis, so it's well written. So The Great Divorce by C.S. Lewis. Excellent book.
I dig it. I dig it. Also, for any of the anti-Mormons in the chat, any of the hate watchers, eschatology means the part of theology concerned with death, judgment, and the final destination of the soul. You know, so
it's 5 syllables. So you might have just exploded all their brains. Those anti-Mormons.
So I would refer them to the Prophet's talk last week.
Okay, yeah.
And who was the other one? Was it Oaks?
Oaks.
Dallin Oaks gave an excellent talk on death and judgment and things like that as well.
Okay.
That's actually a great one, Brian. Actually, Oaks's talk laid it out so plainly, so simply. He was actually the recipient of the Ward Award for the Juggernaut Award for General Conference. Fantastic talk. Go listen to Dallin H. Oaks if you want to know LDS eschatology and kind of really our whole plan of salvation.
Right.
That's an excellent one. Excellent one.
Yep.
Okay, awesome. So really fast, I'm going to try and see if I can't turn down the volume on this one alert, man. It's kind of super loud. But anyway, we're just going to keep going here really fast.
You want one more prophecy?
Do I want one more prophecy?
What should we talk about?
A wild guess.
Should we talk about the Kirtland Bank, or should we talk about?
Well, let's get to the rest of these super chats, and then we'll do the last super chat. So Daniel Vasquez, who just got baptized, said, "Best year of my life." That's awesome. We welcomed him. Then Stephen Diane says, "What kind of second coming prophecies did Joseph Smith make? How much of what we know about the second coming was revealed through him?" So can you think of, just off the top of your head, you don't have to be thinking of it right now, but off the top of your head, can you think of any second coming prophecies, my man?
Oh, just tons of them.
Well, what's the first? If there's tons, just throw us the first one.
One of the secrets in understanding end time prophecies is understanding sometimes the words that we use today aren't really the definitions that God used. For instance, if we say that the temple in Jackson County and Independence at Temple Lot will be built in this generation, that doesn't mean 80 years. Remember, we start going into scriptural examples. Jesus said that the temple will be destroyed in 3 days.
Okay.
Were they talking about the Herod's temple? Was it destroyed in 3 days? No, they were. He was talking about his body.
Okay, rock on.
Generation can mean soon. There's a lot of definitions. It's not 75 years. Okay. So the coming, the temple being built, which will be built in Jackson County.
Okay.
Oh gosh, that's probably the biggest one. But he just talked continually about, preparing this as the last days and things like this. And so people are saying, well, gosh, I mean, and I don't know if you want to even get into this thing that we talked about right before we went on air, of how Joseph Smith's getting beat up a little bit by people who don't understand how to interpret these type of prophecies. Oh no,
they understand. They just don't want it.
Okay, and they're trying to lead people astray.
Yeah.
And say, well, Joseph Smith said this.
And like home wreck.
For
profit.
That's right.
And money. Yeah.
Scatter the families of Zion.
Do you want to get into this? One of my favorites is
No, we'll finish the super chats, then you tell us the good prophecies, because we'll do a specific debunking. Actually, that'd be a really fun debunking to do, where we just look at all the videos of all the people that say like, Joseph Smith, I don't know what you're doing. You're bad. Patriarchy. Like if they was that a pretty good impression.
Yeah. Let's go this Kirtland. Most people in the church, have heard of the Kirtland Safety Society.
Okay, cool.
And
Well, no, I'm going to read the super chats first, and
Okay.
then we're going to do the
Okay.
Kirtland Safety Society. So
gotcha.
Stephen Diamond, what kind of second coming prophecies did he make? How much do we know about the second coming was revealed through him? So you'll have an answer for that one. Keep that in your mind. Okay, keep that in your mind, Brian. Then Shannon Tracy says...
Oh, Shannon, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, you know Shannon. Oh, hey, Shannon. Oh man, I got to burn through these because they're chatting so fast. Says, tell Brian hi from Shannon Tracy, and he is doing a great job. Sure, Shannon. I'll tell him you got a crush on him.
Thank you.
No, I'm just kidding. I saw that was
This
a
is a
dude's
guy,
named Shannon.
yeah.
I saw it was a dude named Shannon. Yeah. Low hanging fruit.
We did some podcasts
I have
together.
a
He's
unisex
great
name too. Low hanging fruit. Okay, Bracken Schweider. Okay, Bracken is a sick name. It's like Braden mixed with Kraken.
So this is
Summon the Bracken.
Bracken Schweider.
Yeah, Schweider says, y'all have helped me a lot in my faith journey. Oh, thanks, man. That's good to hear. Love the content. Also, if Brian remembers me, I
Yeah.
was friends with his son Spencer, and
Yeah.
when he and I were kids, he was
Hi,
super
Bracken.
jealous of the basketball court in the backyard, and Brian was a good dad because he let us play with M80s and explosives when my mom wouldn't let us do it, and he also let us ride the motorcycle without a helmet on. Wow, this guy, yeah, dude, really good, bro. Good job. You know?
So, yeah, hey, Bracken.
Yeah, he also bought us beer on without an idea. What? Jeez, no wonder.
So
they think
Bracken's
you're a
awesome.
bitch.
Um,
I'm just kidding.
His dad, Kurt, and I served in young. He was a counselor for me in Young Men's, and my wife was a college volleyball and college basketball player, and I had a son that went on to be a Division I player. And so when they were young kids, elementary, we put in a giant basketball court with 3 hoops and lights and the whole 9 yards. And
Dude, no wonder he ended up being good. There was so much pressure. Like 2 hoops is enough. He's got 3. He's like, oh crap, I'm shooting on all
Bracken
3 now.
would come over. So good to hear from
Maybe
you,
his
Bracken.
name was just intimidating. Like, you know, like if you see there's another kid on the opposing team during warmups, like, oh, there's Kevin and there's like Brad. Okay, that's not, those aren't intimidating names. But like, oh, did you hear? They got Bracken on their team. It's like, whoa, what can he do? Can he dunk? You know?
Bracken's
can he
pretty
drain
good.
threes from half court?
Bracken was a good ball player at that age. You know,
Okay, so
I think this was 3rd grade, 4th grade.
Betsy Belmont, thank you so much, says, the fact that you are authentic and I can feel your testimonies that uplift me. Also, you have helped me to avoid podcasts that are designed to destroy my faith. I like that phraseology, designed to destroy your faith, because that's exactly what they are.
They lie in wait to deceive, to read the script, to quote the scriptures, and there are people out there that do that.
Boom, shakalaka, and they make a lot of money doing it. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, J. Daniel Hendricks sent us a super chat and says, any abomination of desolation prophecies from Joseph Smith?
Oh, yeah. So we talked about Jackson County?
Well, yeah. So we got to talk about, it was Second Coming was the request, Second Coming prophecies, and then abomination of desolation, and then the gold from the Kirtland Safety Society, it was called. Okay, yeah.
Let's move to Jackson County. There's so many books written about the Second Coming.
Okay,
we could probably spend about 30 hours. Hiram Andrus had a really good book on the Second Coming, but there's so many, and so I'd rather talk about some of these others, including Kirtland Safety Society.
Yeah, so hit it, bust it out, bro.
Here's what happened. Yeah, most members of the church are familiar with in 1837, the Kirtland Safety Society failed, right?
Yeah.
So what happened was Joseph Smith warned them and said, he helped start the bank, the anti-bank, and said, we got to run this on righteous principles. Well, some people got involved, and there was a lot of speculations. Joseph Smith warned them, and he got out of it. But when there was a national economic depression in 1837, half the banks in the United States failed.
Okay.
The banks in New York lost $100 million in assets, and back in 1837, that was a lot of money.
Yeah, and before Democrats giving them golden parachutes and thanking them for their disastrous failures, banks actually could fail.
So people were really mad. Some people were really mad at Joseph Smith, so much so that they left, very quickly to go to Missouri. Joseph Smith made a very unique prophecy. All these banks failed. Their paper money is virtually worth nothing. And there was hundreds of banks, and people were burning them for fire, kindling and things like this. And so what happened is Joseph Smith told the saints, he says, I prophesy that the Kirtland banknotes will one day be on par with gold.
Yeah, and here's a banknote right here. Okay, I've seen one of these over at Reed Moons. He's got a collection of these.
So, when the Saints moved to Utah, the Mormon Battalion, about 10 years later, they got there in 1847, about 1848, 1849, the Mormon Battalion came up from California with gold dust, and they found it very difficult to coin or even use. So Brigham Young, Heber Kimball, and others took these Kirtland banknotes that people had brought with them across the prairies with the migration west to Salt Lake Valley, and they countersigned them. Brigham Young signed them, Heber C. Kimball signed them, and reinstituted the use of the Kirtland banknotes and put them on par with gold. So in just a short time, the Kirtland banknotes were worth their weight in gold, as Joseph Smith prophesied, when all the other banknotes and their money were absolutely worthless and remain worthless for a long time. And now things like that, of course, today are collector's items. But this happened in 10, 12 years from the time of the prophecy.
Now, did these people, were they like kind of betting on that prophecy by keeping the notes? Were these people faithful, saying, you know, Joseph said someday this is going to be good, so I'm going to hold on to this? Or was it because why? Because they hold it across the plains, right? Why would you?
Did.
Well, they were light. They were made out of paper, Jonah.
Well, yeah, I know, but I mean,
Did you show that card? That $5 note?
Oh yeah, bro.
That was
totally.
so remarkable. And you can see where Brigham Young had signed it on the left bottom.
Yeah.
And who signed it on?
Heber C. Kimball,
over the
Joseph
top of
Smith.
Sidney Rigdon. Over the top of Sidney Rigdon, Heber C. Kimball.
Yeah, because they got rid of Rigdon, man. Poor guy. Poor guy. He didn't deserve it. He got TBI from sacrificing for Joseph Smith.
Yeah.
You know, they should have just put him on a soft suspension, you know, benched him for 2 games, made him sit out for a couple of conferences, you know. We'd be softer on that now.
Need to make him emeritus.
So Brandon Cole sent us a super chat. Says, Cardin, don't knock Jonah Barnes' hat. He got a free bowl of soup with it. Extra points for those who get the movie reference and watch the TV edited version. LOL. What's the movie reference, bro? I didn't get it.
Hey, I got a free bowl of soup. At least I got that going for me.
Oh, rock on. And your boy Shannon Tracy, welcome to the the Telestial Kingdom, Brandon. He just
new
joined.
member of the ward.
New member
of the ward.
Of the Ward
All
Radio
those-
family.
All those who would like to welcome Shannon Tracy into the ward, please show by putting a W in the chat.
Yeah,
W in the chat.
a W for welcome.
W in the chat for it's actually for
chat.
winning,
for winning.
but
See,
just put a W in the chat, bro.
So here's a real interesting piece of history that Shannon was responsible for.
Okay, cool.
If you go
Rock
to
on.
Nauvoo and you see where Joseph and Hiram and Emma are buried, and they have this big granite slab. Well, what happened was that, again, I'm a Hancock County historian guy, right?
Cool, rock on.
So in 1913, they built the Keokuk Dam, and it made a big lake called Lake Cooper, and it flooded upstream around Nauvoo, and it was going to flood where Joseph and Hiram were buried.
Oh, wow.
The family had a
okay.
burial plot close to the river, and as the Keokuk Dam filled up with water, the family came and said, let's rebury Joseph and Hiram and Emma to their current spot, just kind of next door to the red brick store. Well, they made a mistake and they misidentified the bodies. And where it says Joseph Smith is Hiram. Hiram's between Emma and Joseph.
Oh, wow.
Shannon.
Okay.
So the joke is that Hiram got between them in life, and now he's between them in death.
I see what you did there.
So Shannon,
That's a groaner. That's a groaner. But hey, you're the dad, Bishop of Brightaho.
right.
So you're entitled to some solid groaners, bro.
It was Shannon Tracy that did the forensics and studied
Shut
the
up,
pictures.
really? Is this the guy that's walking around saying the daguerreotype is of Joseph Smith because of the...
no, that's new. This was 10, 15 years ago that Shannon did his groundbreaking
Well, dude,
work.
when is Shannon Tracy going to come on the show then, bro?
I don't know. I'll give you his number.
I'm down with forensic guys, you know?
He's done a great work, and that was one of the masterpieces. And all people of any scholarly background that look at that verify that Shannon's work is correct.
See, this is something I would be interested if Shannon Tracy could help us out. I've been dying to find out what happened to Thomas B. Marsh and his bucket of milk.
It's probably in some museum someplace.
Could he help us find that bucket of milk? Because we need to hear more about that bucket of milk strippings or of cream or whatever's going on.
What is that? What is that, Cardin? I don't think I've ever heard that story before.
I don't know.
I'm not familiar with that.
It's the most
Every
important
4 years.
It's the most important story of the restoration, according to whoever writes those manuals in the church office building. I hope that the next hymnal has a song like "Curse you, Thomas Marsh, for your bucket of cream." Just something.
It may not be a bucket of cream.
Yeah, this is horrible. So nice hat, bro, and welcome to the Telestial Kingdom, Shannon Tracy. Brandon Cole hollers out and says, Caddyshack. As a pest control professional for many years, I still have yet to see Caddyshack. Wow. I know how to catch gopher.
Really?
I know. I have done a million gopher jobs, and everybody said, "Oh, Caddyshack is like Caddyshack." And I'm like, if I'd seen it, I could tell you. But
Cardin, you're one of the most knowledgeable cinephiles, movie junkies I've ever met.
I know.
You haven't seen Caddyshack?
I know. It's sad. I'm not a Gen Xer. I'm a millennial. You know what I'm saying? So was just barely a little bit before my time, but I do like, oh, come on, what's the actor's name? He's hilarious. He's from
Bill Murray?
Bill Murray. That was it. Yeah, I am a Bill Murray fan. So anyway, Mr. Keeps on Ticking. Oh, I want to know the story behind that. That's a cool YouTube avatar. It says, Google Hiram Smith sunglasses, cool drip. Okay, I'm going to Google. I think I know what he's talking about. I think that's in Relics of the Restoration. Have you seen Hiram Smith's
kind of green or something?
Sunglasses? No, there's. Okay, yeah, here it is. The prescription sunglasses and carrying case were owned by Hiram Smith. So I'm going to pull this up so the audience can see it. This is the digital collections of the BYU library. Yeah, this is cool drip right there. Look at that, guys. Here is the carrying case. Yeah, do you see those? Yeah, dude, that is wicked. You know what? I'm going to talk to a jeweler here in Los Angeles, and I'm going to see if we can't get some remakes of these cool drips, dude.
You get one. I want one for my museum.
You want one for your museum? Okay, cool.
So we're a couple years away, but we hope to do a museum in Hancock County about the martyrdom.
Okay,
and we'll
cool.
put this in.
So maybe after all your Bridaho kids in your student ward are bored of getting married and freezing to death at Rick's College, then you can take a trip to Nauvoo and
see the Martyrdom Museum.
Martyrdom Museum, yeah, exactly. So,
I just want to catch us on one super chat. Danny Gray, who is a regular. Yeah. Danny Gray is a very prominent member of the ward here. He super chatted. He said, hey Brian, I need to know about the prophets dying in the streets. What do you got, homie? Your thoughts, and hi, Jonah. Danny Gray, always a pleasure, brother. What do you got about dying?
Big kiss for Danny Gray.
Well, I think he might be referring to, it's in the New Testament, right? In the last days, there'll be 2 prophets die in the street in Jerusalem and stay there for 3 days. Okay.
That's why Cardin and I never go to Jerusalem together.
Yeah, it's crazy.
You were supposed to be there now. I was supposed to be there in a month.
Yeah, it's true.
Now. And it would be my 4th trip there. And it's kind of scary. I'm not sure if Joseph Smith talked about that specifically. At least we didn't cover it in our book, but it's definitely a new
we'll look into that. And thanks for the super chat, Danny Gray. So we got 3 to catch up on. So first there was Second Coming prophecies by Joseph Smith. Mm-hmm. Any specific second coming prophecies? Well, they couldn't have come true already yet because the second coming hasn't happened, right?
And again, for me, it's the temples, the groups of temples being built in Independence, the New Jerusalem.
Okay, cool. And then there was Abomination of Desolation.
He marched into Independence in 1831 and said, here's the temple lot. This is where we're going to build the temples. This is where Christ will return. They laid it out. So, yeah, it's yet to be happened. It's not a failed prophecy. And here's what we need to know. If you say, well, it hasn't happened yet, that doesn't mean it's failed. Think about this, and I've told several people this. You read in Isaiah, okay? Isaiah says, famous Christmas scripture, that a virgin shall conceive, and his name shall be called Emmanuel.
The virgin's name?
No, the child. The child to be born, right?
Pardon.
Christ.
Oh.
That came out weird, man.
So that prophecy was given 700 years before Jesus was born. So I tell people, for 699 years,
true that.
The what you call it, the ward wreckers, the family wreckers.
Oh, the home wreckers for profit.
Wreckers for profit of Isaiah's day and after for 699 years said Isaiah's a failed prophet because we have no virgin conceiving and we have no child named Emmanuel. But on the 700th year, Isaiah has this prophecy fulfilled. And so when we say you can't, if you use that benchmark, well, it didn't happen yet, he's a failed prophet. No, it just hasn't happened yet.
Okay, dude, I've got a really interesting question from you. Natimus, thank you so much for this super chat. You know what? Jonah Barnes, I will give you the pleasure of reading this super chat, my friend, because I think this is a profound super chat. So hit it, bro. Hit it.
Well, thank you. Natimus super chats and says, why do you think that Joseph was so rich with prophetic vision, but since there have been far less, I think he means fewer. Is it the lack of our collective faith now? What is your take?
Interesting. I think there's more that happens that we don't know about as everyday rank and file members of the church, but there's some big ones. Just in the last few years. And if you look at this, and it may not have come across like some of these prophecies we talked about, but they're very much prophecies and prophetic visions. We say that a prophet sees around corners. That's a common phrase.
Like Call of Duty.
So what did our current prophet, President Nelson, do? Way before anybody knew about this thing called COVID, he says, hey, let's start studying the gospel more in our homes, and church will just be a supplement. And then churches got shut down, and we were prepared, right, to have church in our homes. He says, let's get rid of the home teaching program, and we'll minister less formally but more personally. COVID hit, and we couldn't go into people's homes and give them lessons, but we could help them out. Okay? For years, the prophets of our church have been wise stewards of God's money, right? And so when COVID hit, we had 4 chartered planes in the Philippines bringing missionaries home. That took a lot of money to do. Okay? They prepared, they planned, and who knows what other expenditures are coming. I think it happens on a large scale, and I think if we were around the Quorum of the 12 and the First Presidency, we would see things like this happen daily. It's probably too sacred that they don't write books and say, here's the list of prophecies that came true this week or this year.
Are you sure it's not because Brigham Young conspired with Willard Richards and with John Taylor?
Who's living rent-free in whose head?
To kill Joseph and Hiram Smith in the jail with the pepper box at night. I'm just kidding. I like Justin.
Time.
I can't dog on him. And what's funny is they're catfishing Mormonism right now, and I dig it because they're asking a lot of questions that are showing lazy learning on behalf of us as a people. And they're saying like, okay, well, prophets prophesy like musicians make music. Where's the music? Where's the prophecy?
It's all around
us. And they bring up some points like, we're living the Aaronic priesthood and not the Melchizedek because we should have this, we should have that. Yes. Now, we've talked a lot about it on this show, but man, they're making inroads, and they're making inroads because some of the stuff that they say makes sense. And so it's our duty as members of the church to, just like, if you want to investigate it with a clear heart and mind, go in, dive in head first. I love studying anti-Mormon and anti-church claims because it forces me to hone my faith, and thus far the dudes have been respectful in their dialogue. And it's really funny quoting them and watching you squirm. You know what I'm saying? But
hey, and I'd just like to add one thing. Joseph Smith, at the time of Joseph Smith, and Brian can probably attest to this, or contradict me and embarrass me. But at the time of Joseph Smith, Harley Pratt and Orson Pratt and Wilford Woodruff and a lot of these guys were also giving were seeing visions and making prophetic statements. And Joseph Smith thought it not robbery that they also would be prophetic. And he said, if you have the Spirit of Jesus, you are a prophet. That's one of my favorite quotes from Joseph Smith. It says,
that's in the
if
scriptures,
you have the Spirit of Jesus, then
that's in the New Testament.
Then you are also a prophet. Sorry, say it again, Brian.
That's in the New Testament. Spirit of the testimony of Jesus is a spirit of prophecy.
Is the spirit of prophecy, and Joseph would quote this, and he'd say, "The spirit of prophecy is not limited to the president of the church." And Joseph F. Smith backed this up in his testifying before Congress decades later. that anybody who has the
Joseph
testimony
Smith
of Jesus can see prophetically and feel prophetically. Now, we can't speak for the brethren. Russell M. Nelson is the only man on earth authorized to exercise all priesthood
Jonah,
keys. But
we also have to understand that Joseph Smith said that the kingdom of God is a kingdom of order, and there's jurisdictions and responsibilities. I can receive revelation, say, for my ward, and my elders quorum president can't receive revelation for the relief
You done
society.
screwed up, Jonah.
But go
you
on.
done screwed up.
Everybody knows that.
I don't disagree at all.
Everybody,
but I think that-
I can't receive revelation for my stake. That's my stake presence responsibility. But I understand where you're going with this. Okay.
No disagreement at all.
Okay.
Zero disagreement. on
Okay,
this
so
thing.
we got Rex Good here with a super
Okay,
chat.
let's move on.
Read. Well, I'm just busting out right now
See,
because
but
if we get behind, I get screwed.
I'll Brigham Young was in Boston at the time. Okay, never mind. To the martyrdom.
Brigham Young was in Boston at the time.
There's no way he
Oh.
could have even known Joseph was in the jail.
Okay. Oh, okay.
Not even
Well,
close.
He knew about the Mountain Meadows massacre, so he could have known because he could have telegraphed the Solomon
have the
Spalding Scott contract in first class mail with like FedEx. The
Overnight.
last 116 pages,
Okay, go ahead.
with the white salamander letter, or whatever.
Elephants in the New World.
Horses, tapered, So anyway, okay. Rex Good says a factor that brought me back to church was a good prophecy. No,
Key
it
to
was
the
a book,
Future
Prophecy,
by
Key to the
Pratt.
Future, a collection of early church
Right.
leaders' prophecies other than Joseph. What about some of their prophecies? Yeah, bro. What
That's an
about some of their
excellent book.
prophecies?
That's an excellent book. I ask people to get it.
It just seems kind of, like you're
I have it.
biased. You're a Josephite prophesier.
Well, how long
I'm
do we
just
have to talk tonight?
I'm just kidding, dog. I'm just kidding. Yeah, you know what, guys? We're unfortunately we are going to have to go sometime soon. So if you have any last questions, please not last questions, but you got any questions here? Make sure you send us a super chat. All right. Big shout out to everybody in the chat that are members. Thank you for your support of this channel. This is totally awesome. We're glad to have you. Anyway, there was Abomination of Desolation was the other one you were.
You want to talk about Missouri? You want to talk about Joseph Smith's page in history? Which one?
Which one's the coolest?
Well, I really like this one, and my friend.
You like the Joseph Smith page in history?
Yeah. So here's what happened.
Hit it.
I credit my friend Craig Dunn, who we share a lot of history with this one. So what happened is after the martyrdom, and if you'll show that slide. Many people thought
that slide, you gave me like 12, bro. Which one?
11 and 12, 11 first.
Okay, cool. Rock on.
So what
This
happened was when Joseph Smith died, the large-scale sentiment was and this was in a New York Weekly Herald, the top one, Joseph Smith, the Mormon prophet, is dead, thus ends Mormonism.
Yeah, I see it right here.
But this guy from the New York Tribune, this is less than a month after the martyrdom, kind of felt different. It's almost like Joseph Smith's spirit of prophecy kind of dissipated on a few key people, and including this author. He says, Joseph Smith has carved out for himself a title to a page in the history of his country. This is a month after the martyrdom when everybody thought Mormonism was dead and nobody would remember Joseph Smith. And he says, continues, and Joseph's name, his name will be remembered for good or for evil. And when the names of half the statesmen of the age will be forgotten. So check this wording out. He has carved out for himself a title to a page in the history of his country, right?
Yeah.
So we need to go to the next one.
Okay.
So and everybody laughed. Joseph Smith carved out a page in the history of his country.
Yeah, like we all know the quote that was on the front page of the newspaper that
Mormonism's
says,
dead.
Joseph Smith has been martyred, thus ends Mormonism, I think was the famous quote, right? And then now here's this guy who's saying something totally opposite, that Joseph Smith has carved out for himself a title in the page of the history of this country, and his name will be remembered for good or for evil when the names of half the statesmen of the age will be forgotten. And you honed in on a very specific phrase that he's carved out a page of history, it looks like. Am I smelling what you're stepping in?
Yeah.
Boom!
So in 2015, the Smithsonian in Washington, D.C. published in their magazine a list of, I think it's 130 prominent Americans. And number one in religion was Joseph Smith, and they gave him his own page in history
Oh,
with
look
a
at that,
painting on the
dude.
right side.
Dude, boom, shakalaka. And it's not just a page. He's getting pages, baby. Pages. That's wicked, dude. That's awesome. Oh, we're going to put that one back up here so everybody can see it, dude. So, yeah. And so 2015, there was another, not prophecy, though. That's just a statement by a journalist, right? What would you call that?
I would say the spirit of prophecy kind of lingered.
Rested upon the man.
Rested upon him. And
Yeah.
that's
Okay, I'm
phenomenal.
digging.
Most
So we
people
got-
have no idea of this statement. And again, we had a picture of the actual newspaper as well as this magazine. Joseph Smith carved out for himself a page in the history of his country. And there it is.
I'll be honest with you, it's cool. It's not as cool as anti-Mormon Carthage Greys getting shot in the face by their own cannons
Okay,
in
should we
the
go
battle
now?
of in
Buena
the Battle of
Vista?
Buena Vista. You know what I'm saying? That one, I gotta confess, was a little bit cooler. Okay, but you know that one, it was touching. It was touching. It was a touching little little thing. I like the idea of the fork the dude ate from getting stuffed in the cannon of the Mexicans to blow off the freaking face of the dudes that shot Joseph Smith in Carthage jail, man. So anyway, okay. Any other prophecies that we're missing? You said Missouri. You
want to talk about independence?
Yeah, that could be our last one here.
This is so cool.
It's cool. You say it's cool.
I love this one.
Is it as cool as getting shot in the face by your
Almost,
own
probably
cannons?
better. Probably as good. What happened was that Joseph Smith was in Liberty Jail, and this is the fall, winter, and early spring of 1838, 1837, 1838, 38 through 39.
Okay,
one of those.
something like that.
And a lot of people are familiar with one of his attorneys, Alexander Donovan, a friend, not a member, but a friend of the church. Okay, and a lawyer, an attorney for Joseph Smith. So Donovan comes to Liberty Jail and visits him. Now, the Saints had been exterminated by Governor Boggs. Are you sure you don't want to do the Porter Rockwell prophecy?
You know what?
Maybe
Sure.
we'll do both, okay?
You know what?
So I'll make this quick.
Send it. You know what? Somebody can sponsor that story. Send us a super chat if you want to hear it. Oh, they get to choose. The next person that super chats us gets to choose. Do we hear the Missouri one or the Orem Porter Rockwell one? Which one? I don't know. They'll get to choose.
Pressure's on now.
Yeah, the pressure's on. Which one you want to hear? Or members
Now
of the chat.
there's like 50 Porter Rockwell prophecies and like 50 Independence prophecies too.
So let's just let's continue.
Okay,
with this
just
one.
continue
I'll
what
get
you're
both.
saying, and then we'll let the chat.
So the
opine.
Saints have been exterminated. They're in Quincy, and Joseph and Hiram, Alexander McRae, and a few others are still in Liberty Jail. Right?
Quincy sounds like a dumpy little town, almost as silly as like Rexburg. You know what I'm saying?
No, they're
It's
cool.
like-
No, they're cool, man. They took care of us when nobody
Yeah.
else was. They were super cool. Quincy's
Yeah.
a good
Okay,
place.
then I take that back. I would hate to compare them to Rexburg.
Rexburg has 2 temples, by the way. Okay.
Yeah, that's okay.
That's 2-0 there. Okay.
No, that's
So,
well, it does take two of those temples to make up for the one. No, I'm just kidding. It's okay. Keep going, bro. Keep going.
so Donovan comes to visit, and he's talking to some other people about a court case, and Joseph overhears him. And Donovan says that he has been offered payment for his legal services by somebody who has land in Independence. And Joseph stops him. We got to put this quote up. It's so awesome.
Okay.
Joseph tells Donovan, do not take payment of property in Independence.
Really?
You find that? And this is in 1838 to 1839. Do you see
not
that
take
sign?
payment.
He says Donovan.
Here, is it one of these? Oh, wait, I'm going to put it up on the screen so you can see it really fast. Is it this
Yes,
one?
yes.
Okay, he says Donovan. Donovan, spelled with a PH.
Oh.
Donovan. I advise you not to take that Jackson County land in payment of the debt. God's wrath hangs over Jackson County. His people have been ruthlessly driven from it, and you will live to see the day when it will be visited by fire and sword. The Lord of hosts will sweep it from the besom, I think he means the bosom of destruction. The fields and farms and houses will be destroyed, and only the chimneys will be left to mark their destruction. Wow, that's
pretty
hardcore.
powerful. So
Yeah,
here's
that's
what
tough.
happened. Here's the fulfillment. During the Civil War, a lot of people, even members of the church, don't realize what happened. We think of the Civil War, Manassas Bull Run. We think of Sherman's March to the Sea through Georgia. Some of the bloodiest battles of the Civil War happened in Missouri and happened in Jackson County. Some scholars put the desolation above the desolation that the church faced. There was some renegade Southern groups called Quantrell's Raiders, and the Union troops battled and just destroyed the independents. Even so, non-Mormons came in and said nothing was left standing but the chimneys. And if you go to the next slide, there's a postcard that...
Is this it?
Yeah, read that. A photograph.
It says a photograph shown here was scanned from a postcard of a mural painted in 1865
the end of
by
the Civil
Tom
War.
Lee, a non-Mormon. It depicts the return of a Confederate family to their burned and barren farm in Jackson County after the Civil War. Note that the chimney of the house is still standing. The artist had no idea he was painting the fulfillment of Joseph's prophecy. Wow, that's crazy.
That is
man.
so cool.
Boom, shakalaka.
So let's move on to the last one about Orrin Porter Rockwell. A lot of people are...
Well, hey, hold on.
Oh,
I'm going to
okay.
stop you. We have to let the chat speak.
Okay,
so we got Rex Goods chat here, and Andy Young says, ask him about the Stephen Douglas prophecy. Okay.
Wow.
He breathed new life into this. We will ask him about the Stephen Douglas prophecy, Andy Young. Thank you very much, Andy, for the super chat. And there was another couple super chats that came in here. Brandon Cole says, Rockwell. You know what? He super chatted Rockwell. So you get what you want. Ask and ye shall receive. Super chat and it shall be told unto you. I totally just mixed scripture. Like, we might as well have just started selling indulgences here. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, Brandon Cole wants to hear Rockwell. So hit up the Rockwell stuff, bro.
yeah, I'm glad you don't teach gospel doctrine.
Yeah, it did.
Donations.
Awesome.
Who wants to hear what story? $5, $10. Okay.
Yeah, dude, that's funny, dude. You'd love my gospel doctrine class because
Yeah,
I actually
man.
do teach it. But it's actually Sunday school. It's not gospel.
Come
doctrine.
follow me.
It's
Yeah.
come follow me. Yeah,
Exactly.
So
let's talk about Rockwell. Got some slides on that one.
what slide number? You gave me a dump of slides, bro.
So here's what happened. Most people are familiar. A lot of people are familiar that after Governor Boggs had exterminated the Mormons, we were in Illinois, that somebody took a shot at Governor Boggs. This is 1843.
Okay.
And Governor Boggs was in his house in Independence. Somebody shot at him, didn't kill him. And amazingly, Orrin Porter Rockwell happened to be in Independence at the time.
Boom.
And so they fingered him. They pointed and said, hey, he's the guy that did it. Well, Rockwell escaped, and he went down to St. Louis. So in March of 1843, the authorities found Rockwell, handcuffed him, and brought him back to Independence. Okay?
Cool.
So you've got Porter Rockwell known to be in Independence, and guess what? He's brought back, and he has a court hearing. And guess what type of people are in the jury and grand jury or whoever's deciding whether to trial, whether he's guilty? It's the enemies of the church, people in Independence, Missouri, right?
Rock on.
Well, so when word got out that Rockwell had been arrested and was on his way back to Independence, Joseph Smith made a prophecy, and you can throw that slide up if you want. This is about a week later. Joseph Smith prophesied that Orrin Porter Rockwell would be released a free man.
Okay, so
You see
it
that?
was O.P.
There you
Rockwell
go.
right here.
You
March
wanna read that?
15th, 1843. Porter Rockwell was arrested March 4th, 1843 in St. Louis. He was put in iron hobbles. Oh, interesting. Iron hobbles. I assume that's like
Chains and
like shackles and chains and whatever, right? Okay. So he was put in iron hobbles and taken to Independence March 15th. Joseph spoke of Rockwell's fate. Oh, I wonder what he said. Hold on. We're going to see. Joseph spoke of Rockwell's fate, and he said, I prophesied in the name of the Lord Jesus Christ that Orrin Porter Rockwell would get away honorably from the Missourians. I love it back when we could use Missourian as a pejorative. You know what I'm saying? just like that filthy Missourian. Joseph Smith apparently used it quite often as well. And Rockwell was tried December 13th, 1843, and the charge of shooting former Governor Boggs could not be sustained. He was indeed released.
In fulfillment of Joseph's prophecy.
Wow, he was released from the same crowd that hated him, and
right.
Wow,
Who would have thought?
Wow.
Now somebody asked about Douglas. Do we do that one as our last one?
Well,
Stephen
Andy
Douglas?
Young did indeed ask for this Stephen Douglas prophecy. So what is he referring to? Reed Moon has showed me the notes from the Stephen Douglas debates.
With Lincoln,
is this
Lincoln Douglas debates? Yeah.
Yeah. Is this where Stephen Douglas chose the wrong side? Is that what we're talking about here?
Yeah. So what happened is, again, Hancock County history. In Carthage, Joseph went in 1843, and he was having dinner at the sheriff's house, Sheriff Backentos, Jacob Backentos's house. And there was a couple members of the church there, and Stephen Douglas, a young aspiring politician, joined him for dinner, right?
I just imagine somebody that looks like Eric Swalwell for some reason.
I don't know what Stephen Douglas
Eric
looked at.
Swalwell, just like
he was fatter. He was a little pudgy. Little dude, great orator, kind of pudgy dude.
Yeah, I just imagine Eric Swalwell, just like a small man syndrome, who's just like trying to work through his small man syndrome by talking tough. You know what I'm saying?
He started off pretty cool. Stephen Douglas had a lot of promise, but
big time. And here's what makes it.
So
really
did he look like that?
I don't know.
Did he look like that? No. Okay. I just when for some reason when I think of Stephen Douglas, I think of Eric Swalwell. But look, here's a stamp, bro. Here's
the Lincoln Douglas
of
debate.
the Lincoln Douglas debates. So which one is Douglas, the guy in the black suit behind him?
No,
Do you know which one it is? No? Okay. Anyway, keep going. Lincoln Douglas debates. Hit it.
So they're having dinner, 1843, and Joseph, and some people know this prophecy. Joseph said that you will aspire to the office of the President of the United States, and if you ever turn, as I'm paraphrasing, I prophesy that if you ever turn your back on the saints, you will not be elected.
Oh, dude.
So what happened is, and I think I got the exact quote up there in another slide, but what happened was, no, maybe I don't.
Yeah.
So what happened is that in 1857, Douglas said that the Mormons were an ulcer on the body politic.
Yeah, during one of the debates, they were asked, what should we do about the Mormons in the West? Abraham Lincoln said, oftentimes when I'm plowing a field and I reach a stump, I find that it's actually smarter just to go around and leave the stump be. And then he said something really heinous. You said, what was it again?
Yeah, something about how the Mormons are an ulcer on the body politic, or
and they should be. And he said,
something like that.
And like an ulcer, it should be cut out. And also that when they were deciding on the name of the territory, it was Stephen Douglas who helped champion the name Utah, which was a pejorative because the Ute Indians were in the East erroneously perceived to be nudists. And they thought, Brigham Young's got all these wives, so he's probably doesn't have time.
Wait, so Utah means the nudist colony?
Yeah, kind of.
Wait, that is so awesome.
Yeah, and Stephen Douglas thought this was so hilarious, and so he got everybody. Oh yeah, we should call it Utah
instead of Deseret. Yeah.
Deseret's what we wanted, and so he helped get Utah put in there, and to make fun of the.
I'm going to dig up the primary sources on this and make a video titled "Utah was a nudist colony?" ?
Yeah,
that is hilarious. Okay,
so here's what happened. Douglas became more and more popular. 1858, 1859, and when the election of 1860 came around, the money was on Douglas. It was a shoo-in. But what happened? Come the election time, this little known guy, he was a tall guy, from Illinois, Abraham Lincoln,
looked like Eric Swalwell,
who had lost election after election after election after election, not only won the presidency, Douglas won 2 states. He won 12 electoral votes. Abraham Lincoln won 160 electoral votes. 12 to 160. Completely out of nowhere. All the money was on Douglas. Douglas was a complete shoo-in. Douglas died the next year at age 48, a disappointed man.
And even
go ahead.
To put a cherry on that, so he won some electoral votes from another state because they did like a proportional thing, but the only state he won outright was Missouri.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. How's that for karma, people? Come on. on.
How's that for
the
a
coolest prophecy ever.
How's that for a prophecy when Joseph Smith said in front of a lot of people, you will aspire to be president, to the office of President of the United States, and should you turn your back on the saints, you'll never be president. I'm paraphrasing, of course. And sure enough, he did, and he was supposed to be a shoo-in, and it was a disaster.
Okay, you know what? I still don't think that's as cool as getting shot in the face by your own cannons. You know, in the Battle of Buena Vista for having shot at Joseph Smith. You know what I'm saying? Just taking some heavy metal in the noggin because you chose the wrong side, and then getting smoked in the Mexican-American War. I think that's better than losing a debate, but that's still a pretty cool one, man. So anyway, we're going to address some of these last Super Chats. Guys, we got the last 5 minutes here. If you got any burning questions, if you got any questions for none other than Brian Stutzman here, the foremost authority that I know on the prophecies of Joseph Smith, if you have any sins you need to confess of
go to your bishop,
in your
not me.
student ward. Well, there's more than one student ward in Rick's college.
I don't know where Rick's College is.
Oh, okay, cool. I just thought, wow, you're growing. That's so cute. You know.
So here's the deal. You know,
Yeah.
we've got this book out. It's on Amazon. But if you want the big book, Dwayne Crothers put 400 prophecies together. We put the highlights in here. You know, my brother-in-law did most of it, and we republished it here. And it tells these, and then people say, well, what about, you know, Joseph Smith said this or that, and it hasn't come to pass. We address that in this book. What about prophecies that haven't come to pass yet? And that's where our critics kind of get hung up. It's all addressed, as well as examples from the scriptures, New Testament, Old Testament. You know, Jonah went to Nineveh. Everybody knows Jonah and the whale, right? He went to Nineveh.
Oh, yes.
And he told Nineveh that they'd be destroyed. Guess what? Nineveh was not destroyed.
Well, because they changed their righteousness, and so that altered.
But that's not what Jonah's prophecy had. No if in it.
I don't trust men named Jonah.
Okay.
Just not.
However, we know that prophecies sometimes are contingent upon things, including righteousness, and that's why Nineveh wasn't destroyed. And we have those types of examples, both in this book, Dwayne's book. If you Google, you know, there's
dude. Now that we got that out, I want to start prophesying a little bit more. You know, a little bit more liberally. I think I'm just going to start prophesying a little bit more liberally, and that way, you know, if it doesn't work out, I'll be like, it's because you weren't righteous, bro.
It's not quite the way it works,
It's not my fault. It's not my fault.
You know what I'm saying? That's kind of funny. All right,
but I think it's worth saying. So when Brian said that it took 700 years for Isaiah's prophecy to come true, and then finally came true, the day after it came true, there was some
anti-Christian
and antichrists back then who were like, well, but what about elephants in the book of... Like, they move on immediately. No matter how many prophecies Joseph Smith gets right, they always find the one that hasn't come true yet. And they're like, well, what about that one? Guys, have some patience, okay? He's batting like 900 at this point. Just give it a little patience,
so
okay?
awesome.
And Brian's book is fantastic. But remember,
actually, I find your reference of batting 900 a horrible anachronism because baseball wasn't developed. Baseball wasn't developed until the 1920s, and we all know that it's just patriarchy anyway, based off of those phallic bats.
And there's no elephants in the New World. That's really what this is about, guys. It's about elephants. That's what we're all about.
So anyway, okay. Tommy O. Huffman, first super chat. Thank you, Tommy O. Huffman. I wonder if that's Tommy Huffman, a guy I used to home teach. That'd be kind of cool if it is. Yeah. Dude's a straight up black belt in like multiple, like, what do you call them? Martial arts. Yeah. Like he's like one of those dudes that like can kill you 3 times before you hit the floor, you know? And so, sometimes when I walk by, I credit card him in the halls just to see if he'll like, you know, just like, you know what I'm saying? Just like, no, just kidding. Anyway, Tommy O. Huffman, thank you very much for the super chat. And we also got another super chat here from, you guys are chatting so quickly I couldn't see it. Keep chatting though, that's great. Rex Good, wasn't there a prophecy about a Chinese invasion? Ooh, was there a prophecy about Chinese invasion that I'm not aware of? I mean, I didn't know the dudes were getting blown in the face by their own cannons in the War of Buena Vista until literally about 90 minutes ago. Is there a Chinese invasion prophecy or anything like that?
I'd like more information about that.
Okay.
Not in my book. I don't think Dwayne Carruthers included that in his either. But I will tell you, you can go to faithful sources. There are so many explanations and even more details of even the Battle of Buena Vista, some of these others. There's a lot of material out there.
Why should we go to faithful sources? We know that the church hides these things. We know about that other version of the first vision that they had in that safe that they were hiding.
Oh my gosh.
So hashtag gotcha.
But it's out there for everybody in the world to read.
Yeah.
Okay.
So anyway,
Now.
actually, I don't really care what source it is. I just care if it's good.
Yeah,
Yeah. I just care.
There's
if it's good.
lots of this out there if you want to search. for
So wasn't there a prophecy about a Chinese invasion? We don't know. But if
Who were
there
they
was,
invading?
it'd be cool. So anyway, we got 2 more minutes left, guys. Any other questions? Make sure that you send us a super chat right now if you can. We're already in 1 minute and 47 seconds overtime right now. So Rex Good says, I saw Dwayne Crowther's book. Awesome.
That's a good one.
Great to hear. His name is Brian Stutzman, and he wrote a timeline of Joseph Smith's prophecies and his prophecies fulfilled. This is super cool. And you can just see, this is a dense book, man. It's got all the prophecies of Joseph Smith, and you can see all the stories of how they were fulfilled. And this is prolific, my man. Where can people find your book and read more, man?
On Amazon. And so what this is, it's divided by church history segments: Palmyra, Kirtland, Missouri, Zion's Camp, in between that, Carthage, things like that. And so we put together a page or two of what's happening in the church, and then the prophecies that happened in that time period.
It's a great book. So I got the book off Amazon about a month ago, and it gives just enough context. It doesn't overdo it. It isn't Brian Stutzman's prophecies. He gives just enough context to drive home, and he starts from the very beginning. And by the end, you get the sense that Joseph Smith just he wasn't just like all of a sudden, he would get a prophecy. Sometimes he did, but that he just was a prophetic guy. It's a really cool book, and it's, if you like church history or you have a dad who won't shut up about church history, you got to get him this book. It's pretty good.
So
Carter,
Paul,
there was one. Yeah, there was one more. There was a few. We actually have in the Discord. I put a photograph of the Confederate soldiers at the Battle of Buena Vista.
Oh my gosh, did I miss it?
Well,
just to bring it home.
Or the one about Orrin Porter Rockwell.
So that's
very apropos as well.
Okay.
A picture of Orrin Porter Rockwell.
Well, hold on. So this is the Confederate soldiers.
That wasn't Confederate. This was before the Civil War.
That's the Carthage Greys in the Battle of Buena Vista, is what you're saying.
That's the one.
Getting it in the face.
Is that Thomas Sharp there or something?
Getting it in the
he
face.
Thomas Sharp.
Oh, and what's this one? Porter Rockwell to Brigham Young. Whenever non-members come into Utah, want me to kill
I love Porter Rockwell, and that's totally accurate because he really was like, he's just kind of the muscle,
That is awesome, dude. He was a savage. Weren't you telling me, Brian? This will be our little outro.
Okay.
Weren't you telling me that like when there was 2 bad guys chasing after Joseph Smith, the sheriff, and Orrin Porter Rockwell, and one other person had to shoot at him. One guy missed his by shooting over his head, and then Orrin Porter Rockwell got his guy and shot him off his horse. And correct me if I say this wrong. The reason why Orrin Porter Rockwell got his guy and the other dude didn't was because the other guy was aiming for his chest and his head, and Orrin Porter Rockwell said, I aim for his groin and his stomach.
I aim for his belt buckle.
Oh, I aim for his belt buckle, so if I miss when he's bouncing, I still blow him in the chest. That dude's a savage, man. That's like...
So this was Orrin Porter Rockwell's first confirmed kill just north of Warsaw, and he. By the
way, hold the presses. We are unironically talking about members of the church here and confirmed kills. Like they're freaking World War II aces or something. Like, how emasculated are we as members of the church now when we need to unironically just walk around church and be like, yeah, I'd like you to meet my friend Jonah Barnes, Brother Barnes. He's got 5 confirmed kills. You know what I'm saying? We got to bring back the confirmed kills, man.
The man who was shot and killed was Frank Worrell. Frank was at the Carthage jail at the day of the martyrdom, And he wrote a note and sent it over to Thomas Sharp and the group over at Golden's Point, and he says, now's the time to do the deed. In other words, Joseph was upstairs, and now's a good time, and the mob came and descended upon Carthage because Frank wrote that note and knew and told the mob that Joseph was, a sitting duck, so to speak. A year and a half later, O.P. Rockwell, or P. Rockwell, just happened to be at the right place at the right time. These guys are chasing the sheriff. The sheriff yells out and deputizes Orrin Porter Rockwell and Return Redding, a couple other guys, and legally and under the law and as a deputy of the sheriff, Rockwell shoots Frank Worrell dead.
Wow, dude, rock on.
The guy that was most
confirmed kill.
The guy that's most responsible, perhaps, or one of the guys most responsible for the martyrdom of Joseph Smith, Rockwell knocked off.
Dude, his first confirmed kill, man. And then just went savage after that, right? You know?
He killed a couple other people that day. In fact, Rockwell said, I've never killed a man that didn't deserve to die.
Yeah, or didn't need killing, I thought was the phrase, right?
Didn't need killing. Yeah, and he had kills before that too, but they're kind of like iffy. My favorite is when he ran a ferry. He used to run a ferry because they'd have to get across the river, so he built a raft and he charged people for the use of the raft, and he'd take people across. And this is the younger days before all that. And this group of Missourians who were harassing Mormons came across. They're like, yeah, we'll use your ferry. And so they got on, and halfway across, they're like, yeah, we're not going to pay you, sucker. Like, yeah, too bad for you. And so he cut the ropes that tied the logs, swam ashore, and let them all drown.
Oh, shut up. Really?
So that's why that's his first.
Yes!
That's his first confirmed kill. But Orrin Porter Rockwell was not somebody to mess with. And he's like, hey, I didn't kill him, man. They stopped paying for my services
and they
in
couldn't
the middle
swim.
of the river.
And they couldn't swim.
Sorry. So he cut the ropes and took off. Like,
so you heard it here first in studio with Brian J. Stutzman. We have just endorsed extrajudicial killing.
No, we didn't.
For not
vigilante justice, people.
Vigilante justice. You know what I'm saying? Death by logging. Death by logging. You know,
I didn't
by
say
the way,
such a
what's
thing.
that guy's obituary look like? You know, just
Frank
like
Worrell?
didn't pay the ferry.
Oh, okay.
Didn't pay the ferry fee. You know, that is funny. So, okay, cool. Well,
right.
Check this out, guys. The name of the book is A Timeline of Joseph Smith's Prophecies, His Prophecies Fulfilled. The author is Brian J. Stutzman, okay? Stand-up comedian, historian, and bishop of the 117th Student Ward at BYU, Idaho, also known as Bridaho, okay? And
we don't know what it's at, but
where
okay.
can people find you if they want to find you, dog, and they want to know more about the prophecies? Just tell them to go buy the book on Amazon. You got some socials you want to shout out? What do you got?
Yeah, the book's fine on Amazon.
The book's fine. Okay, cool.
They can message me on Facebook.
Okay, rock on. That's good to hear. All right, man. Well, this has been awesome. Thanks for hanging out with us, Jonah. You have any shout outs that you want to give before we go, bro? Just a firm salute.
Just to Brian. Thanks so much for coming on. We call you Brian Studman behind your back, actually. Your book is fantastic.
Thanks.
Your research is amazing. Brian is proof, guys, that you don't have to be some professor at BYU to be like an excellent historian. Like Brian he just loves this stuff. He just does this stuff and soaks it all up, and he's adding to the corpus of LDS literature and cataloging the restoration all out of just his own passion project. It's awesome stuff. Go buy his book.
And thank you very much for the last super chat from Danny Gray, who says, while you've been having a productive discussion, we've been making Ward radio assignments, Carton. All right. Okay.
Awesome.
Well,
oh boy.
Those have not been approved through the committee. So we will, as the Ward boomer, I'm going to say no before knowing what happens. And blame it on insurance reasons. So, no, I'm just kidding, dude. I'm totally just kidding. That is so savage. No, I love it.
Too accurate.
It's too accurate. So, anyway, you guys are awesome. This has been great. We had a lot of fun tonight. This is a super fun chat. Thank you for Ed for providing security for tonight. You know what I'm saying? The chatter, the intel was low today. So. He didn't bring
Hamas.
He didn't bring the semi-auto. He brought the semi-automatic, not the fully automatic, with him.
right.
So, yeah, okay, awesome. You guys are great. This has been real. It's been fun. If you haven't had a chance yet, please make sure that you like this stream. Please like the stream. I'm checking it out right now. We got 109 likes. That's it, 109 likes, but we know we can get more. Before I go, please like this stream. If this is your first time hanging out with us, let this be the time that we earn your subscription. And also, if you are subscribed to our channel yet and you don't have that alert button pressed, make sure you press the alert button. It alerts you to every one of our live streams when they come out. Other than that, it's been real.